Welcome back to another video. What is popping? Okay, so before we get into this video, let me remind you about my Discord. It's pretty cool. Join it. What are we talking about today? We are talking about Bill Maher. He did a special on LGBTQ. I'm messing up on the acronym. What are you looking at, dumbass? Come here, come here. Look at the dog. Look at the dog. I got distracted and now the dog's on camera. Say hi, Luna. Her name's Luna. And no, she's not trans. So Bill Maher did a special talking about the LGBTQ community. And I wanted to talk about it today because he says some stuff that yikes.
Of America seems to be roughly doubling every generation. According to a recent Gallup poll, less than 1% of Americans born before 1946, that's Joe Biden's generation, identify that way. 2.6% of boomers do, 4.2% of Gen X, 10.5% of millennials, and 20.8% of Gen Z. Which means if we follow this trajectory, we will all be gay in 2054.
First point he makes and brings up is that, wow, look how many, he's kind of implying that a lot of people coming up nowadays are identifying with the LGBTQ label. One, people are way more open to coming out, and I think a lot of the reason why we've seen such like a massive increase is not just because people identify as lesbian, gay, or trans. It's because the bisexual and pansexual and ace people that all are part of the LGBT community. So if there's more people that identify with being ace or bisexual or pansexual, it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to end up in homo relationships. They could end up in hetero relationships. The way he's putting it out and the way he's implying with this information is that, wow, there are so many gay people now. We're gonna be in trouble.
Also, I was talking with a friend, Atronach, last night in a Discord call, and they mentioned how part of the reason why the LGBT community is so much larger in younger generations is because the life expectancy for LGBTQ people is shorter, and also in those older generations, they were hit pretty hard by the AIDS crisis.
Saying that when things change this much, this fast, people are allowed to ask, what's up with that? All the babies are in the wrong bodies? Was there a mix-up at the plant, like with...
These things are changing a little too fast. We're allowed to ask questions, which pretty much means I don't like how many gay people there are now, so I'm gonna be an old whiny crybaby about it and say, back in my day. It's simply that times are changing, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that...
I'm happy for LGBT folks that we now live in an age where they can live their authentic lives openly. And we should always be mindful of respecting and protecting. But someone needs to say it. Not everything's about you.
Kids make everything about themselves these days. Dude, you have a show with your name on it. Shut the fuck up, dude. You whiny little cry piss baby. You piss little whine cry baby.
And it's okay to ask questions about something that's very new and involves children.
So he says it's okay to ask something about something new. And being trans might be new to you, Bill Maher, but trans people have existed for a very long time, probably since the beginning of humans. He says even when it involves children. Now, when children choose to transition, if they are trans, typically it is only social transition. And if they are given hormones, it's just puberty blockers.
Because we're literally experimenting on children. Maybe that's why Sweden and Finland have stopped giving puberty blockers to kids.
So I decided to look up the one article about Sweden, and it is only one individual hospital that's banned it.
But in the US, the puberty blockers that are given to kids have been used since the 80s. We do know the long-term effects because kids that would have been born in the 80s that would have been on puberty blockers for non-trans reasons, or maybe trans reasons, I don't know, are now adults and have been adults for quite a long time. So we do know the effects. He even brings up a study later saying that it decreases bone density, which is an example that we do know the facts of long-term. You can't say, like, we don't have the long-term facts and then bring up the long-term facts.
Yet when a book questioning the sudden uptick in transitioning children was released, a trans lawyer with the ACLU named Chase Strangio tweeted, "Stopping the circulation of this book and these ideas is 100% a hill I will die on."
Oh no, here's the book again. The book is coming back. The book. Irreversible Damages. It's not a good book. It cites incorrect studies, or studies that have been proven wrong. It is not, the information in it is not backed up by medical consensus of, like, almost every single medical or pediatrics. Like, it's uses trans people's photos without their consent, and information as well, and their stories and stuff like that. Overall, it is not a good book, and it targets people who are already vulnerable. It's hateful, transphobic. It is not a good book, and transphobes love to bring it up because it's like the one, like, source of information. They're like, well, have you read this book that has things that have been disproven over and over and over again?
Chase, by the way, has just been named one of the grand marshals of this year's New York City Pride March, along with 3 other trans people and a lesbian. What's missing here? Oh, right, a gay man.
So he says, oh, there's lesbians, bis, trans, that are, I guess, grand marshals in the NC Pride. But he says there's not even a gay man. Typical white man behavior. Whenever there's not a man included in something, they're outraged. Dude, it's not your community. You literally said at the beginning of this, you're straight. You're a breeder. Like, dude, this isn't your community. Don't comment on it. You're just being homophobic and transphobic. Like,
yes, part of the rise in LGBT numbers is from people feeling free enough to tell it to a pollster, and that's all to the good. But some of it is, it's trendy. Penis equals man? Okay, boomer. Remember, the prime directive of every teen is anything to shock and challenge the squares who brought you up.
I hate when transphobes are like, being trans is trendy. Okay, let's just, like, go through, like, not even bringing up facts or anything. Let's think about this logically, okay? If you're gonna transition, you're gonna make a life-altering decision. Literally something that will affect the rest of your life, especially if you go on hormones or get surgery, and you're just gonna be like, well, I'm doing it for the likes. What? Who the fuck would do that? Who would be like, you know, I'm seeing a lot of these trans people on social media. I think I'm gonna transition because it's gonna make me a social media star. What? Like, literally, no. I didn't transition, and I don't know anybody that's transitioned to get more attention, more likes or clout on social media, because if anything, but ever since coming out and transitioning, I've gotten significantly more hate and more harassment, not only online, but in person as well. You literally, by saying that, you do not understand why people transition or why they truly want to transition. You just think, oh, it's what the kids are doing, it's trendy. No, it's because it's how we actually feel inside and what'll make us feel better about ourselves and our bodies.
If you attend a small dinner party of typically very liberal upper-income Angelenos, it is not uncommon to hear parents who each have a trans kid having a conversation about that. What are the odds of that happening in Youngstown, Ohio? If this spike in trans children is all natural, why is it regional? Either Ohio is shaming them or California.
So he says that it's a regional thing, and it's really not. There's LGBTQ people everywhere. When he says either Ohio is shaming them or California is creating them, California is not creating them. Gay people exist everywhere. And typically, more rural communities, people are shamed for being LGBTQ a lot more often than in cities. And the reason why you see more LGBTQ people in cities is because people that are LGBTQ often move to those cities to feel safer and also to be surrounded by their own peers.
But hormone blockers and genital surgery, fine.
Hormone blockers and genital surgery? Fine. Let's first talk about surgeries. They don't happen to kids. Also, let's talk about hormone blockers. Typically, if someone goes on hormone blockers, they have been psychiatrically evaluated. It's not you walk into your doctor and you instantly get hormone blockers. Also, I think I brought this up in the Ben Shapiro video that I made a few weeks ago. I'll put the tag up here, I don't know. But I mentioned how even for me, an adult, I was 19 at the time that I was seeking to get on hormones so I can transition. It took me 11 months from the time that I came out and stated that I wanted hormones to seeing 3 different therapists, 1 psychologist, 2 doctors in order to get on hormones. As an adult, it is much harder for children to get on puberty blockers because they do have to go through those same steps as well. Not to mention how much that can cost.
And never forget, children are impressionable and very, very stupid.
I don't know when the last time he was around children, but children are smart as hell. And also, the image that he shows on screen is kids that look to be about like 6 or 7. Now, kids that are 6 or 7 are not given hormones or surgery. You're showing like kids, but really it's teens. And I don't know if you've ever met a teen, but they're just a smaller adult, but slightly dumber. And I say slightly because they're some dumbass adults like you, Bill Maher.
Maybe the boy who thinks he's a girl is just gay.
I was afraid to speak my opinions for the longest time as a teen because I thought if I spoke my opinion and spoke my voice, people would just say, oh, well, you're probably just gay. Even when I came out to my parents when I was 19 and I said I am trans and I'm bisexual, they said, oh, well, maybe you're just gay. And I know they were trying to understand, but it is such a hurtful thing to say that to someone who is or could be trans. I think the best thing that we can do is instead of assuming someone's gender identity or sexual identity is just to let them explore it themselves and accept and be caring and open to whatever they choose.
I wanted to be a pirate. Thank God nobody took me seriously and scheduled me for eye removal and peg leg surgery.
He said, when I was 8, I wanted to be a pirate. And thank goodness nobody scheduled me for eye removal surgery and peg leg surgery. Being a pirate is very different from being trans. Being trans is an identity, and it's something that is like critical to who you are and how you view your gender identity. Okay? Being a pirate, it's completely different. They are not comparable. And then he also says, well, thank goodness no one scheduled me for surgery. And in this reference, he's talking about when he was 8. Now, 8-year-olds are not getting hormones or surgery. Typically, it's only a social transition, which means just going by a different name, pronouns, and wearing the clothes they want. They don't know anything about trans people or trans healthcare Bill Maher is just a transphobic loser who fell off 20 years ago and wasn't even like he's never been a funny comedian. That's gonna do it for this video. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm kind of dressed like the one like trans cat girl. Like, you know, I'll put like a photo like. So, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also go down in the description and join my Discord. It's a very fun place. I love you guys. I'm gonna say goodbye now and maybe give you a little smooch.